Hi, my name is Kristin. This is Kristin Kraves Books. So I'm here with my first book haul in a minute. I think it's been a couple of months, so I've acquired quite a few books here, some from publishers, some special editions, some that I purchased myself. I always enjoy watching these videos, and I don't film them as often as I probably should because these do start to pile up. But I like to also go back and watch my old book hauls to remind myself that, okay, these are books that have come onto my shelves and I need to prioritize them. So I'm going to start with the ones from publishers. The first one, this was from Penguin Canada, and they always send me finished copies of books. So I love that. I think that's so kind of them. And this was unsolicited, but I was so excited when I saw this on my doorstep. This is When We Were Birds, and it came out March 15th. And let me see what it looks like under the dust jacket. It's pink under the dust jacket, which I just love. And I think that this is actually a romance, and it's got one of the most beautiful covers ever. And it is a mythic love story set in Trinidad, and it's a radiant debut, which I love debuts, and it introduces two unforgettable outsiders brought together by their connection with death. So is there a bit of a paranormal element in here? That would be interesting. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this, but those who have reviewed it have loved it, so this might be a good beach read for me. The next one is actually a book that Simon & Schuster sent to me, and I've already read it, and that is Love Radio by Ebony Liddell. And this was actually really, really sweet. I really enjoyed this book. It's been a long time since I loved a YA contemporary romance this much. And it is following Danny, who is cynical when it comes to love, and I think it's important to know going into this that she does experience a traumatic event where there was an attempted sexual assault. So that really is in the background of this entire book. She's dealing with that trauma a lot. It's really caused her to draw into herself. And I don't think it hints at that in the synopsis, but I think it's important to know going into it that that is a big part of her story. And then Prince is actually a radio talk show host where he gives love advice. Now that's one part I had a hard time getting over. Why would a teenager be giving love advice on the radio? But it worked, and I loved reading about his insights into that. And Danny is a writer, and she's going through her trauma, writing letters to her favorite authors. So Toni Morrison, Roxane Gay. So I loved the orange tabs in here, actually the letters that she wrote to these authors, and I loved that part. But their romance is so respectful, doesn't fall into any of the tropes that I thought that it would, and I think people are going to be really happy with this book. I'll talk more about it in a wrap-up, but yeah, this comes out May 31st, and I highly, highly recommend it. This next one was also a surprise, and it's a finished copy from St. Martin's Press, so this actually came from the US, and it's The Night Shift by Alex Finlay, who I know is a very popular thriller author, and I've never read anything by him because I'm just trying to figure out what kind of thrillers I like. And I think his last book got some mixed reviews and people had some issues with it. But I've been seeing some good things about this one lately, so I was excited to find this on my doorstep. And from what I know, I think it's set in two timelines, and in the first timeline, there was a massacre at a Blockbuster, and then we're following characters who survived that or connected to that somehow in the future, and people are dying again, I believe. I don't know. I think my best friend and I, we read one thriller together every year because he's not a big reader, but he does love thrillers. And the one we read last time was actually The One by John Mars. But my friend worked at Blockbuster and loves that kind of era, so I think I might buy him a copy of this as well, and this is the one that we'll read together. But yeah, really excited about this. Then I have two from HarperCollins Canada. They're really good here in Canada. They do these influencer virtual events where authors come on. The last one I watched, Emma Donahue was there, who I adore. The one before that, Victoria Schwab, Tiffany D. Jackson was the one before that, so it's just amazing. And they always send influencers one or two physical arcs after the event, and these are the two that I was sent. The first one is The Change by Kirsten Miller. This is so interesting. I've actually just read the first chapter of this, and it'll be my next read. I think this comes out May 3rd. And The Change is actually the change as in menopause, and we're following three women who are start at the beginning of menopause, and they realize that they have gifts. I think one can speak to the dead, and they're coming to their power, and then they find a teenager body, and the police have written off this teenager as just a drug addict, but these women know that there's more to the story, and they're determined to find out what happened to her. So I think it's an interesting mix of fantasy, paranormal, thriller, mystery. So I'm curious to see where this goes. It is a bit of a longer book, but I've been hearing good things about this. And then the next one is actually another thriller, In the Dark We Forget by Sandra S.J. Wong. And I don't think this comes out until June or July. And this is actually written by a Chinese Canadian, and the main character in here is Chinese Canadian, and she wakes up on the side of the road with no memories, and then she realizes that her parents are missing and they had just won the lottery. So I think she's trying to come to terms with maybe she had something to do with it. And of course we'll probably have an unreliable narrator, so I think that could be interesting. This might be a fun beach read as well. So that is it from books from publishers. Those all came in the last couple of weeks. So thank you to them. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to finish that entire stack. And next I'm going to show you some of the special editions that I collected. I am newer to getting special editions, especially with stenciled edges, and I can see why people have shelves and shelves of them because they're so pretty. And the first one is obviously Gallant by V. Schwab. Now, as I said, I saw an event where she spoke about this book and she described it as a death tale, and I was hooked. I've had mixed experiences with her books, but this one really intrigues me. People seem to be loving it. So this is the Waterstones edition. It is signed, and there's the spine. It's gorgeous. It runs all the way top to bottom, and the inside end papers are stunning as well, and there's her signature. So I'm happy to have that in my collection. It's a very small book. I don't know why I haven't read it yet. Then I have another book from Waterstones by one of my favorite authors, and this is Devotion by Hannah Kent, who wrote Burial Rites, which I absolutely loved. And something about Hannah Kent is she writes historical fiction, but you can tell she does a lot of research. And I know that this one takes place aboard a ship, which makes sense with these gorgeous stenciled edges. And then when you open the end pages as well, it all connects right to the back. So I just think this is absolutely beautiful. I've been hearing good things about this one. I already know that I love her writing. And then the next two books that I have are from Fairy Delude, and the first one is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, and I actually listened to an ALC of that before I got this book, and I absolutely love this book. It's so whimsical and memorable, so I was so excited to get this stunning edition. I love the changes they made. This is the UK version, and then some of the most gorgeous stenciling I've ever seen with the dragon. And I gotta show you underneath the dust jacket. I'm sure you've seen this everywhere, but I just had to show it to you. So there it is. And then, of course, the end pages as well. Gorgeous. And the spine even on this one is really beautiful. So there you go. So excited to have a beautiful, stunning copy of this because I really, really did love this book. And I need to read Axio's contemporary. It's called XOXO. I've been hearing good things about that one as well, but this is gorgeous. And then the last one just came in the mail yesterday, and this is The Atlas Six by Olivia Blake. So this is everywhere lately, and I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but I'm open to it. This is Dark Academia. I have an audiobook from Libro.fm as well, but this copy is stunning. I love the color that they chose. I wasn't sure at first, but it's a nice cream color, and then the spine with the dagger on it, just stunning. And I think the highlight of this book is the end pages. So there we go. I've heard this is a bit pretentious, but I can kind of like that, especially in my Dark Academia, so we'll see. I'm open to giving it a fair shot. So I will probably read this soon because I've decided that these special editions, I don't want to just let them add up and collect dust and then never read them. I actually want to read these books. But now that I've been getting into tabbing, or I definitely won't be tabbing these, but I will follow along with the audiobook. One of my goals for the year is to finish more series. So I decided to buy a few sequels to series that I'm in the middle of or just need to continue on with to motivate me to do that. So I have quite a few here, and the first one is obviously The Voyage of Basilisk by Marie Brennan. This is the third book in the Memoir of Lady Trent series, which I am co-hosting a readathon for. Talk about that all the time. I'll leave all the information down below, but I loved the first two. I'm excited to continue on. I heard this is probably the best in the series, and it takes place aboard a ship, which you know I'm gonna love. So this feels heavier than the other two, so I'm excited to dive into this at the end of this month because I want to be fresh in my mind for the live show, which I believe is happening April 1st. So I will leave all that information as I said, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this series. Then I have Sense and Second Degree Murder by Teresa Price. The first book was Pride and Premeditation, and that was obviously a Pride and Prejudice retelling, and this is a Sense and Sensibility retelling. And they're YA cozy mysteries with the characters from the original stories. and I just loved it. I loved the first one. I thought it was campy and fun. You can't take it too seriously, so I'm excited to dive into the second novel in that series, and then the third one is based on Mansfield Park, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, and the covers are gorgeous, and I can't wait to see what she does with these characters. I'm not as familiar with Sense and Sensibility as I am with Pride and Prejudice, because you know how much I love that book. So it'll be interesting to see what I think. I have seen some great reviews for this one. The next one is one I think I've showed a few times since I bought it, because I really do want to read it, but I think I've decided I'm going to save it for the beach, and that is Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey, who I love. It happened when summer was one of my favorite romances of last year, and I really liked Fox and Hannah, the little parts that we got of them in that book, so I'm excited for them to have a full story. And this is a friends to lovers romance set in a fishing community. Love it, love everything about the first one, so I just adore Tessa Bailey. This next one's actually a prequel, and it's Bitter by Kweki Emezi. I think Kweki Emezi is one of my favorite authors, in the top 5 for sure. I think they'll probably be the most read author, one of the most read authors I read this year, because I've already read You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. I just ordered their poetry collection, and I'm gonna get to this one. This is a prequel to Pet, which is a YA novel about monsters, and this is following Jam from that book's mother when she was a teenager, and it revolves around art. I love that her mom is a painter, so I'm curious to see what she was like as a teenager. It's no secret, I've made videos about this, that I love books where the main characters are artists. So I don't know why I haven't picked this up. It's short. I adored the first one. I adore Kweki Emezi's writing. I think I'm just saving it. It's one of those books I just save because I know I'm gonna love it. Everyone seems to be reading this right now though. And then I bought 2 books in a series to complete the series, and that is Acceptance and Authority. Which one is which? I don't even know which one comes next. This is part of the, oh, this is the second one. This is the third. These are the last 2 books in the Southern Reach trilogy. I read Annihilation so long ago, and I loved it. It made me realize I love weird science fiction. That's kind of my thing, and I don't read enough of it. And I want to read a lot more from Jeff Vandermeer, so I also saw that movie, and it's very strange and different, but I kind of loved it too. I just think of them as completely different things. But yeah, I have no idea what to expect from these books, but it would be so satisfying if I could read these and finish off this series this year. And then this last one is a brick. It is Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee. I read Jade City last year, adored it, bought Jade War right away, and haven't read it yet. But I figured I should buy the last one while it's still available in hardback, and maybe it'll motivate me to finally read this series. And then I got it in the mail and realized how huge it was, and that made me a little bit scared. But I know so many people love this, and I have the audiobooks too, so I can follow along that way. I just don't know if I'm ready. I hope a lot of people are crushed by this book and they say it's the best in the series. I just don't know that I'm ready for it, so we'll see when this happens, but it has to happen before the end of 2022. As I mentioned earlier, I'm thinking about beach reads lately. I do spend my summer at the beach, so I love cozy mysteries in the summertime. So I do have 3 of them here. The first one is By Book or By Crook. This is by Ava Gates, and this is just a cute cover. It's got a Siamese cat on the cover, and that is why I bought it. And there's quite a few in this series. I like these. They're mass market paperbacks. They're inexpensive. They're just fun to take to the beach. You don't have to worry about them too much. And I think every book in this series has this cat on the cover and is set near the water. So excited about that. It says A Lighthouse Library Mystery. So this is book 1 in that series. And then I am part of Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte's Patreon, and she does a cozy mystery readathon or book club every month. It's a new thing that she started, and I think May's book is this book, and that is Daisies for Innocence. And the audiobook's unscripted, but I couldn't resist this cover. It is the cutest cover, and there's something a little bit different about this cozy mystery because I think it takes place in an enchanted garden, so that is just so sweet. Then they also had the second one, so I just went for it. It's Marigolds for Malice, and again, gorgeous. It just screams spring summer to me. If it'll focus, look how pretty that is. So I'm excited to have these. I think there's only 3 in the series. It's an enchanted garden mystery, so excited about those. So the 2 most popular videos on my channel are actually a overview of my Pride and Prejudice collection and my Great Gatsby collection. So I bought 1 copy of each of those books. I'm always on the hunt for new beautiful editions at an affordable price. So here is the Pride and Prejudice one that I found, and I think this is just like a UK Penguin Puffins edition, but I just thought it was beautiful. And I know they have some, I think Jane Eyre in this edition. The Littlest Princess, but I just think that was beautiful and like nothing I have already. And then of course The Great Gatsby, I had to go with this edition because I just love anything Art Deco. I think so many of The Great Gatsby's editions are stunning, so I'm excited to have that one as well. And then these next books, there's no rhyme or reason to them, it's just ones I was interested in. So the first one actually is another one I'll probably read on the beach, and this is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, who I actually really like. Lynn Painter, we follow each other on Instagram, and I think she's very involved in the book community and she's very supportive. And she got a new book, Mr. Wrong Number, that a lot of people are loving. This is actually a YA romance, and obviously there's nods to famous rom-coms. Obviously Say Anything, Dirty Dancing. So I just thought this was so cute and I'm excited to read it. I know a lot of people are surprised by how much I love this. This next one was kind of random. It was a cover by, I saw this and I thought this looked beautiful, and it's A Seed Keeper by Diana Wilson. And then I came home and looked at Goodreads reviews, and it has like a 4.4 something, and it's been out for a while now, and so many people love this. And part of the appeal for me was that it is a multi-generational story, which Petrinko showed me that I really do love. I knew that I loved that after reading Homegoing, but I was reminded just how good that could be. So I'm excited to dive into this and let you know my thoughts on that one. 1,000 Ships was one of my favorite books a couple of years ago, and I've been wanting to read more Natalie Haynes ever since, and I actually saw this at Walmart, so I grabbed it. This is Pandora's Jar. It says Women in the Greek Myths, so I think it's actually a bunch of stories of different women in Greek mythology, so I'm excited to dive into that. I think that'll be fun. It's not very long, and I already know I like what Natalie Haynes does with those characters. Then this next book is actually the newest book to my collection. It just came in the mail the other day and it's gorgeous. This is The Wolf Den. It actually has a bookmark, which was a nice surprise, and all I know about this one is that it's set in Pompeii and people are loving it. So it sounds like something I will really, really love, and I think the sequel comes out soon, so I hope to get to this, and I just think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous book. I actually had to get this from the UK, but I do believe it's out in Canada now or soon, so yeah, I will read this soon and let you know what I think because it's really calling to me. It's no secret that I'm a huge fan of Kazuo Ishiguro. He wrote Never Let Me Go, which is my favorite book of all time. I loved Claire in the Sun last year, and then I also read The Beauty That Remains and adored that. And I asked my readers on my blog what book I should pick up next, and so many people told me An Artist of the Floating World. And then I saw this copy, and is this the drop cap edition? Yeah, Penguin drop caps. And I also have Cannery Row by John Steinbeck, and these editions are gorgeous. So this is what it looks like, and I had to grab it, so it's so pretty, and I need to read more Kazuo Ishiguro. My goal is to get through his entire backlist. I think I'll probably read 2 a year until that happens, so this will be my first of the year, and then I have to decide what the other book this year I want to read is. But even the edges are lime green, so this is so cute. And then the last book is one that's a little bit out of my comfort zone, but it's been getting some buzz, and I meant to read The Last House on Needless Street last year, but I just didn't get to it, and then I caved and I bought Sundial. And the UK cover is gorgeous, but this one has grown on me. So I decided to pick it up, and actually again, I think this might be a fun one to read on the beach. It's horror, and it's giving me like major 80s vibes. I don't know much about it, but I think so many people have been loving it and thinking it's really strange and weird. I am here for strange and weird in my horror. So, yep, I'm looking forward to that. And that is everything. There's a lot of reading ahead of me here because of this stack. I think I've only read one. So, oh no, I've read 3 of them, I think. Yes, so I got a lot of reading to do. I'm sure there are more that I've already read. I actually know there are. But I talked about them so much in wrap-ups and things. I just don't want to show them to you and talk to you about them again. So these are the ones that are pretty much, most of these are on my TBR. And if you have thoughts about any of these, which ones I should prioritize, I think next up for me is the Atlas 6, but we will see. And also the Change, because that's an arc. I want to get that arc read before May 3rd. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've posted a book haul recently, let me know because I always love watching them. Thank you for subscribing, for liking the video, for commenting, for just supporting me in general. It means a lot to me, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.